Okay.
Thank you for your patience.
Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being here, and it's a great pleasure for me to be here to talk about innovative nation branding in Burundi. And I would like to use this opportunity to thank the ICD for inviting me to this conference. As you know, economics is, I think, what we say in French, le nerf de la guerre. So it's very important to talk about economics and think of the strategies to make it work better. So I would like to tell you something about the innovative nation branding in Burundi. And through my presentation, I will talk of the strategies, the actors, and the agents, of course, tools and agents. So I was a bit disturbed when they asked me to talk about this subject because I'm no specialist on this, but I said, okay, let me try and see what I can bring, and I hope I will meet your expectations. Also, I noticed that nation branding is what we are always doing as diplomats, even though sometimes you are unaware of what you are doing, because like this Mr. Jourdain in the Bourgeois Gentilhomme of Molière. I think some of you read French, and so we are doing like him, doing things without being unaware of it. So nation branding is not something new. It's, this notion is not new, and because nations have always been branding themselves, either through their different icons, like uniforms, like currencies, etc., like using national flags. This is also an opportunity to challenge those who say that nation branding is something only reserved to powerful countries, super powers. And as time goes on, there has been, we noticed that even small countries like Burundi can benefit from this notion, provided that they set up original innovative strategies based on their own unique and attributes and circumstances. I think this is where Burundi is putting much emphasis to beneficiate from this. It is very interesting to talk about nation branding in Burundi, a landlocked country, a country which is relatively small, without known resources, and without any influence whatsoever on the international scene. A country whose recent history is full of tragic moments, and which constitutes the only reference for international media and newspapers. But when we talk of nation branding, what is it? Why do we need to be innovative? It's amazing when you notice how this notion is taking ground, is gaining ground and attention from countries which struggle to develop effective nation branding strategies. It is, however, very important to notice that borrowing branding techniques from the commercial sector and apply them to the whole country is considerably gaining ground. This is where innovation comes in. By this, the objectives of nation branding seeks to attract investment, to promote tourism, and increase the country's influence on the international scene. It also helps the country to shape a positive image that goes beyond the cliches and bring about awareness on the positive developments and economic opportunities in the country. So in order to succeed in this endeavor, there has to be a strategic collaboration between public and private sectors. Sometimes you notice that the public sector doesn't have means. Doesn't have branding skills, and these branding skills can be found in the private sector, which on its own part does not have the legitimacy to brand a nation as a whole. So there is a need for stakeholders to come together. And for Burundi, we have the National Tourist Office, the Burundi Investment Promotion Authority, the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, the embassies, of course, and advertising companies, of course, the media too. So we have to be able to use all these actors, but try to avoid heavy bureaucracy. I think this is very important. And when you talk of national branding for Burundi, we have two dimensions of it. First of all, taking into account the recent history of Burundi, the first step is to restore or to build a positive image of the country through what we call public diplomacy, in order to have a kind of international endorsement through organizations like UN, like African Union, like even IMF or World Bank. The second step would be to promote development by putting into place incentives and strategies to attract foreign investors, and in order to promote also tourism. So maybe I would not need to go through all the recent history of Burundi because it would be long, but I would only say that since the independence of Burundi, we went through tragic moments. And this, of course, had impacted negatively the image of Burundi. So you cannot tell people to come and invest in your country when they have negative news coming to them. So we definitely decided to work on this first and then try to convince people that Burundi is a country at peace where business is possible. So all the efforts then were oriented to reconstruct the country's economy, on the social and political level. And I think nation branding helped a lot in this work. So we also found that it was necessary to have to shape a kind of national branding in Burundi by finding a common consensus on what kind of image we want to communicate to the foreign audience. So we did this by trying to identify all the potentialities available in the country in terms of values, culture, landscape, geography, historical sites, and monuments. So we also insisted on the need for Burundian citizens to change their behavior, and because they have been very much impacted by the long period of conflict. So in terms of values, Burundians are well known for their hospitality and warmth. And I would say that Burundi people are very welcoming people. They are very respectful to foreigners, and they don't hesitate to offer their help to anyone in need. Also, the moral integrity is one of the characteristics of Burundians, even though maybe there have been some kind of erosion because of this long period of war. Also, in terms of culture, Burundi is famous for its what we call sacred dramas. Maybe some of you were able to just to have an idea about it through the short performance we had downstairs this afternoon. And Burundi is also well known for its coffee and tea. I would invite you to taste Burundi coffee and Burundi tea. I'm sure you find it very, very nice and very tasty. As maybe many of you know that Burundi is located in what we call in the heart of Africa. When you see Burundi is strategically located in a very rich part of Africa, and from Burundi you can easily move around to Rwanda, Kenya, Tanzania, Uganda, DRC Congo, and Zambia, because we share with Zambia and DRC Congo Lake Tanganyika, which is a natural link between our countries. So we call Burundi the heart of Africa because of its location, but also because of its heart-like shape. And this is something we value very much because, you know, the role of the heart in a human body is very important. When the heart doesn't work well, the whole body will not work well. So we are using this kind of image to make Burundi play this important role of a heart in a human body, but in terms of strengthening the stability in Africa. So this is why Burundi is trying to help other countries which have troubles like Somalia, like Central African Republic, because we are sending troops in Somalia and other countries, the countries which have problems in terms of security. So we are trying to play this role, and this is also a kind of branding Burundi to tell people that Burundi is a peaceful country. Burundi is trying to contribute to peace and stability in the world. So this role of branding Burundi is not only played by diplomats or government officials only, but also by non-state actors like individuals, like private organizations, the members of civil society, tourists, and also the members of Burundi diaspora. So this is very important because, you know, nowadays you can easily access to information, and we notice that sometimes we diplomats, what we say, sometimes people don't value it. They know we are serving a certain country, and it would be unfair to talk of evil of the country we are serving. That's how some people view it. And we are very aware of this, and that is why we try to be fair and give a balanced information, because we know we are not the only sources of information, because you can get the other information from different sources. So we are trying to do our best to give a balanced information, and information you can verify, or information you can even challenge. Why not? So now I would like to say something about promoting economic development in Burundi and the promotion of tourism, because these two elements go hand in hand, and we have to stress on it because they are interconnected. In most of times, investors and tourists need a secured environment because it is a prerequisite to have security. I'm not very sure if anyone would dare to go in a country where it's not safe to stay, where there is no stability or peace. So we worked on it, and I can assure you that Burundi is a destination for not only vacation, but also for investment. As a destination for vacation, Burundi is referred as the Eden in the heart of Africa. You remember the Garden of Eden, those who read the Bible, or, So it's because of this geographical position of Burundi, as I said, in the very heart of Africa, and the beautiful landscape of Burundi. People say that they make it of Burundi a paradise. So I would invite you to visit Burundi and see by yourself, because one of the magazines I left here, there is an article on Burundi. This is for East African Community magazine, and you can find all what I'm saying in that magazine, especially when they say that Burundi, because of its landscape, because of its climate, Burundi is said to be, it's named the Switzerland of Africa. So you can read the article on page 22 of that magazine. I left some copies outside and some of them here. So we are trying then to use this region brand, as Burundi being part of our East African community, to use this region brand to brand Burundi as part of the region. Because we noticed that this region brand offers a kind of added value in terms of investment and tourism promotion. And there are a lot of efforts which are being made for Burundi to attract tourists in Burundi. And a lot of things are being done through exhibitions like what is happening now in Berlin, the ITB, like the fairs in Paris, in Moscow. There is also one going on in China, and we have a delegation in China doing this kind of job of branding Burundi, trying to attract investors and tourists in Burundi. But in doing so, we have to be careful, because sometimes countries tend to focus more attention on tourism and forget to use this opportunity to attract people, to attract investors. So we need to use tourism as a means to promote business. So to be able to get a kind of international endorsement, Burundi worked a lot with advertising companies, and also intensively uses the new media, social media, to communicate with a global audience. As a destination for business, we made a lot of efforts to attract the investors. First of all, as I said, we worked on the security issues. And then second, we also emphasize on the location of Burundi in the very heart of Africa, where Burundi is a bridge between the different countries in the region. As I said before, you can easily move around in the region from Burundi to other countries. And this helps us to widen the scope of the market. The investors sometimes, they don't want to invest in a small market. The size of the market is also very important for investors. So that's why we are fitting Burundi in the regional perspective, so that the investors don't think only of Burundi, but think of Burundi in in the context of the region, because we have no barriers from DRC Congo, from Rwanda, from the region. People can easily move, services and goods can easily move from one country to another. This is why we tell people, don't say Burundi is a small country in terms of market, but think of Burundi as a part of East African region, as part of the Central African region, and you can easily make business there. So in terms of incentives to investors, we worked a lot on our investment code, and we installed what we call one-stop shop, and where the businessman can open its business within 2 hours and at a cost of less than $25 US. I think this is very tremendous, and there are a lot of investors who are beneficiating, who are taking this opportunity. So another improvement in terms of our investment code, we are encouraging and facilitating investors to get access to the local market. And we try to do our best to avoid any discrimination between the local enterprises and the foreigners who are coming to invest in Burundi. So the economic environment is very conducive for in Burundi. Another improvement was brought to the sector of judicial system in Burundi, which upholds the sanctity of contracts. So in case of a dispute involving a foreign investor and another maybe Burundian or any other issue, we established a center for arbitration and mediation, and this helps a lot to settle some of these issues. Also, the cases can be referred to international courts, and this gives a lot of assurance to the investors. So I think the following developments are not very important, but I will only say that there are also a lot of efforts which have been made in order to curb the corruption, because many investors are afraid of this phenomenon. So I would say that in other strategies we put on places, we tried to provide a minimum training to embassy staff in the practice of nation branding. We also put emphasis on mobilizing diaspora and the promotion of Burundi culture. So in terms of promoting Burundi culture, we want to promote Burundi culture as an area of investment, because there are, when you take the field of film production, for example, when you take into account food, beverages, or music in Burundi, I think there are a lot of investment that can take place in this sector, and people can make good business, and also Burundi will gain a lot from this. Because of all these efforts, Burundi is hailed by the Doing Business report of 2014, and also because of these improvements, Burundi also was able to get a kind of external independent endorsement from the World Bank, from Doing Business, from other organizations. And this gives credibility to Burundi and encourages the investors. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is what I have to say, and I thank you for your attention.